Hi, this is a video for people who have not used the Canvas quiz feature, testing feature. I'm primarily discussing the options that you have, and I want to show you some of the settings you can set to hopefully reduce cheating. This is mostly for multiple choice quizzes or tests, but it would also apply probably to if you use short answer essay questions to some degree. Anyway. To create a quiz in Canvas, go to quizzes, and this applies to tests as well, whether it's a test or a quiz. They call it a quiz in Canvas. You can see I've already created several quizzes for this particular class, but let's assume that you don't have any and you want to start a new quiz. Click Add Quiz. You need to give it your quiz name, so let's say this is Exam 2. Come in here and you want to give some degree of instructions so that students know what to expect. They'll be able to see these instructions prior to starting the quiz. So I'm going to paste the instructions that I've already created. First of all, you might want to tell them when the quiz will be available. In this case, it's available Monday from 8 a.m. to Thursday 8 p.m. Tell the students that they need to have to take the test within that window. If there's a time limit, and I recommend setting a time limit, let them know what the time limit is. The reason I say unless you start after 7 p.m. is because this window right here overrides the time limit. So if a student starts at 7:30 on March 26th, they'll only have 30 minutes to take the test because the test must be finished within the window. So you might inform students of that. Finally, I tell them that in this quiz, or test, they're going to be shown one question at a time. They're not going to be able to go back to that question. That's a little different than, say, a paper pencil where they can flip back and forth from questions. I do this because it is one of the ways that you can reduce the likelihood of cheating. If they're able to look at all questions at the same time and move around, then students can conference call each other and say, let's take the test together. And even if you've randomized the order of questions, if they can scroll through the test at random, they can find, okay, my question number 2 is your question number 7, but let's talk about it and get it correct. Making them see one question at a time and not being able to return reduces that level of cheating. After you've set those instructions, and plus any others that you want to add, indicate whether it's a practice quiz, graded quiz. In this case, this is a graded quiz. Indicate what category. If you use assignment groups, for me, this is an exam. I would say go ahead and shuffle the answers. That's another way to at least make it more frustrating. They can't just say the answer is A. They have to indicate what the answer is if they are trying to share questions and answers. Set your time limit. I set a 60-minute window, or a 60-minute time limit. Obviously, I'd encourage you not to allow multiple attempts unless that's what you want to do. This default setting is problematic. It allows cheating to occur in that once a student finishes the test, they could see their correct answers, and then they could share those correct answers with others. If you deselect that, that means students will be able to see their score, but they won't be able to see which questions they got right, which questions they got wrong, what the correct answer is. Select Show one question at a time, and select Lock questions after answering. You can require an access code if you want. That I don't know is very helpful in this environment unless you want to know unless you want to set up different access codes for, say, different days of testing or something like that. But I'm going to leave that blank. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to set the window. I said it would be the 23rd, 8 a.m. Until the 26th, 8 p.m. Once you've set all those settings, hit Save. Notice that we haven't added any questions yet. We're just setting up the settings for the test. Once you've done that, go to Edit. You're back on that page where you've just set all your settings, but now click Questions. there are no questions currently. This is where you have to add questions. Now you can do so manually. If you enter new question, you've got all these question types that you can choose from, and so you can enter these questions. Know that if that's what you're doing, if you give Elena the test questions, the paper copy of the test, scan it and send it to her, however you want to get it to her, if you'll give her the test and access to your course, she can come in and add these questions so that you've created this and she'll just do the questions for you. Other ways to create questions is you may have a whole test bank of questions that you want to choose from. Instead of adding questions manually, let me cancel that process and go to Edit, Questions. You can find questions if you have a test bank already in Canvas, or if you have Elena move a test bank into Canvas. So I'm going to click Find Questions, and here are all my test banks. Notice that I already have a test bank for Exam 2, which is 7, 8, and 9. So I would click that, and here are all the questions on the exam. If I want all of those questions added, I just select all, scroll down to the bottom, and add questions. Obviously you can select just a few of the questions if you want. Add the questions. It'll take me back to the test. You can see it is now putting those questions into the test. You have to wait for that process to finish. There are 50 questions in the test. I go down to the bottom, I see each of the questions, and I can now save. I'm not going to publish, but you can save and publish, or you can save if you want to do more editing. And so now if I preview this test, you will see, if I preview this test, you will see that it tells you once you've submitted an answer, you're not going to be able to go back. There must have been some problem. Oh no, here we are. We're in the test. So you see the instructions again. I'm going to talk about that in just a second, but here are the questions. So I click Answer, hit Next. It takes me to the second question. I can't go back. There's no back button. Even if I use the browser's back button, it takes me to the same question, question number 2. I can't click here and move around in questions. I have to answer this question, hit Next, and go on to the next question. Now notice that's a little frustrating for the student to have to scroll down in order to see the question, answer, hit Next, and then because these instructions are there, scroll down and hit Next again. You might, if you choose to, you can do this. Let me cancel out of here, edit the quiz. During the actual testing window, you can eliminate all of that, hit Save, and so while the test is open and available to take, now they don't have to do as much scrolling because there are no quiz instructions, but you've given those instructions previously or in an email, something like that.